All right, so we've been looking at equations of lines in point slope form, and we've already done some where it was nice and easy because they gave us a slope, they said where it's going to pass through or what it's containing, it's passing through this point, or the line contains that point. But then we got down here to number 7, 8, 9, and 10, and they didn't give me the slope, they just gave me 2 points that it passes through. Okay, so that means I'm going to have to calculate my own slope like we did in the slope lesson. So to do that, remember you're going to do your y's. You're going to subtract your y's on top and subtract your x's on the bottom. Always start with your second point. So I'm going to do 4 minus, my y first, 4 minus 1, over, then I'm going to do my x's, starting with the second one first, 5 minus negative 3. Okay, so 4 minus 1 is 3. 5 minus a negative 3 is really 5 plus 3. So that's going to be 3/8. So I know my slope is 3/8. Okay, so now that I have my slope, I can do y minus, and then whatever my y1 is, equals my slope times x minus x1. Okay, so my slope part, to fill in my slope, is easy because it's 3/8. For my x and my y, I now have 2 points to choose from. Both points are correct. So you can pick either point. I usually just go with the first one because it's easiest, or because it's first. Or sometimes I'll look and I'll say, well, these are both positive, so I'm not going to have to rewrite it because I won't have to change any signs, right? But I didn't think that far ahead, and I already circled this one, so I'm going to go ahead and go with this one. My y value is 1, so that goes by y. My x value is negative 3, so that goes over here by the x. I do have a double negative, so I will have to rewrite this. Y minus 1 equals 3/8 over x plus 3. Okay, if I had chosen the second point, I wouldn't have to rewrite it. Okay, the two equations would look a little bit different because this one would be y minus 4 equals 3/8 times x plus or minus 5. But the two equations, if you had a graphing calculator and you solved the equation for y and graphed them, the two equations would graph the exact same line. Okay? Let's look at the next one, number 8. I'm going to have to do the exact same process. I'm going to have to start by finding the slope. So I'm going to say m equals, and I'm going to subtract my y's, starting with the second one. So I'm going to go 3 minus negative 6. And then I'm going to do my x's, starting with the second one, 2 minus 5. 3 minus a negative 6 is really 3 plus 6. Over 2 minus 5 is a negative 3. 9 divided by negative 3, I have that one negative, so that's going to move up. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So my slope is a negative 3. So then my equation is going to be y minus y equals my slope times x minus an x. And then I'm going to pick a point. So remember over here I said sometimes it's nice if one of your points doesn't have any negatives, you know you won't have to rewrite it. So if I do my y value of 3, my slope of negative 3, and then my other value, my x value of 2, I didn't have to, I'm not going to have to rewrite this because there's no double negatives or zeros. Okay? Let's look at number 9. Number 9 and 10, they're both, again, the same thing. We're going to have to find the slope and then plug the slope along with one of our points into the equation. So my slope equals, start with your second y, 1 minus negative 2 over negative 6 minus 2. This is really 1 plus 2. And negative 6 minus 2 is negative 6, 7, 8, negative 8. That negative will float to the top or out in front, 3/8. Negative 3/8 is my slope. So then I'm going to have y minus something, a y, equals a slope times x minus an x. If I look at my 2 points, they both have a negative, so it doesn't matter which one I pick. I'm going to go with this one so I don't get confused where the numbers went since those are both 2's. My y value is a 1, so that goes by y. My slope is negative 3/8. And my x value is a -6, which means I do have a double negative, so I do have to rewrite this. Y minus 1 equals -3/8 times x plus 6. Okay? One more. On this last one, we're going to pass through the points 3, 4, and -7, 4. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to figure out, well, what is that slope? So my slope, subtract your y, starting with the second one, 4 minus 4. And then my x value, so -7, starting with the second one, minus 3. 4 minus 4 is 0, and -7 minus 3 is a -10. But 0 divided by 10, that is just 0. Okay? So my slope here is 0, which remember means I'm going to have a horizontal line. So my y minus something equals a slope times x minus something. Okay? So I'm going to pick a point. I'm going to go with this one because they're both positive and I won't have to worry about changing any signs. My y value is 4, so that goes here with y. My slope is 0. And then my x value is 3. Now here's the neat thing if your slope is 0. If your slope is 0, 0 times whatever this turns out to be, no matter what I put in for x, if you multiply by 0, you're still going to get 0. So this is just y minus 4 equals 0. And that is in point slope form. Okay? I have 2 questions I want to ask real quick here at the end, and those 2 questions are, 1, are any of these equations parallel? If they're parallel, remember that means they have the same slope. Their slopes are equal. So I need to go back and look at all my slopes. So remember, your slope is right in front of the x values. So here I've got a 3. Oh, look, here's another 3. Here's a -4, a -5, a 2/3, a -3/2, a 3/8, a -3, and a -3/8, and a 0. Okay, those are all my slopes. So are any of the same? I remember saying 3 twice. So line 1 has a slope of 3, and line 2 has a slope of 3. Now here I have a -3, right? But that's not the same because it's negative. We want positive. So line 1 is parallel. We use our little parallel symbol. Line 1 is parallel to line 2. Line 1 and line 2 both have a slope of 3. Okay? And then the next one says, are any of the lines you've looked at perpendicular? For perpendicular, remember we're looking for opposite and reciprocal, flipped over slopes. So one's got to be positive, one's got to be negative. Remember, we did have this 3 and this -3. So they're opposite, but they're not flipped over, right? So let's see. I do have, if I look down here, I have a 3/8 and a -3/8. So again, those are opposite, but they're not flipped over, right? So I don't have anything that is both opposite. Oh, wait, I do. I lied. Look right here. Positive, negative, 2/3, 3/2. So line 5 and line 6, when I graph them, they're going to be perpendicular. Line 5, do you remember the symbol for perpendicular that I would put between line 5 and line 6? It's going to be the upside down T. Line 5 is perpendicular to line 6. All right, we're going to look at one more form of an equation. In the next one, it's going to be your slope-intercept form. So in the next video, we will look at slope-intercept form. Thank you so much for watching.